Hi, this is We Know the Rules podcast. I'm Amy Poo. I'm the boxing life coach. I am also the first female professional boxing referee in the UK. In this podcast, I speak to women who are referees, umpires, or officials in their respective sport. They share their stories and their journeys to date, as well as the mindset they need to have in a male dominant sporting world. I hope you find inspirations from their stories of courage, strength, and determinations so that you can carry on your own journey. Enjoy. Hi, Gabby.
Hi, Amy.
Hi, welcome to We Know the Rules podcast. I'm so excited to have you here. Ever since that we met at the referees conference, I think it was last year.
Was it last? Is it last? Yeah, it was last year. Wow.
I
Yeah.
know, right? Yeah, so to start with, could you tell us about you, your story, your background? Your sport is basketball on your t-shirt, and just tell us about you and your sport.
So my name is Gabrielle Boateng. I am a National League and Super League basketball referee in the UK. I have been officiating now. I believe this is going into my, oh gosh, I think it's my 12th season. Yeah, going into my 12th season. But National League, I believe it's been in the last 6 years, and professional, I've just finished my first professional year officiating.
Okay, so just explain a little bit more. So you say you've got 6 years in the National League
Yeah,
and then 1 year in the professional.
yeah.
So is the National League the amateur side or?
Yeah, the National League is the amateur. So National League can go from junior National League, so the kids, right up into senior National League, which would be Division One men.
Okay, great. And in terms of the professional, is there a name for the professional league?
The professional league that we have in the UK is Super League. It's called the Super
Ah,
League.
right. Okay. Oh, yes. I did see you were refereeing at the Super League Cup final.
Right, yeah. So I was made the in my first year in the professional league, I was asked to be the fourth official at the Super League, the Women's Super League Cup final in Nottingham.
How was that?
Um, do you know, I just think with it was exciting. It was definitely exciting. I wasn't really expecting to get the call. I actually got the call whilst I was just about to start refereeing a women's Super League game, literally about an hour or so before tip. And it was like, oh, what are you doing on Sunday? I've got something for you. So I was like, I don't know. Why? What do you want? And it's just like, well, this is something that we feel that if needed, you can step up to represent. You can step up and be the official that we need you to be. So I was like, okay, cool. What is it? And it's the Women's Cup final. So I was like, for what? And I said, it's the Women's Super League Cup final in Nottingham. You'd be the fourth official, but it doesn't mean that, you're just there for the ride or you're there to have fun. If anything was to happen to the other referees, we need you to be able to step up and, get onto the court. So I said, hey, do you know what? It's not an opportunity that I expected to be given to me. So yeah, let's step up to the plate. Unfortunately, I wasn't needed, but I got to have that experience. And I think in my kind of debut year in the professional league, it was exciting, definitely.
I think that's amazing. Just like you said, like it's not expected, right? And when you get the call, you're just kind of like, what's going on?
Definitely. And yeah, like I said, it wasn't expected, but um the person at the time, he kind of reassured me that, it's nothing that's been gifted to me. I've worked for it. So, as much as it wasn't expected, if I'm putting in the hard work, surely it should be expected. But I guess when you're first stepping out into things like that, you don't expect to be acknowledged, you don't expect to be seen. But I have been working hard, and so he said this was earned, not gifted. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's so important, isn't it? Especially, I think, for a woman and for a Black woman in your case. And I think a lot of times that, well, I'm kind of talking about my own experience in a way that I don't want to be fast tracked. And I don't know whether you feel the same, kind of like what the person told you, that you earned that opportunity. It wasn't because of how you look, who you are. And then we just put you out there so that you can represent.
Exactly. And you know what? He always reassured me that it's never a tick box thing for him. You know, he will see the official rather than whether they're male or female, black, white, Chinese, Asian. It doesn't matter. You know, he could have picked anyone, absolutely anyone. And I think I did even have a moment on the phone with him and I said, but why me? And then he turned around. He's very cutthroat, very black and white with it. And he was just like, well, why not you? And I was like, yeah, you're right. Why not me? Why should I pave the way? Why should I give this opportunity to someone else when he said, no, you've worked hard, so this is what you get. So I did have that moment to say, why me? And it's like a lot of the stuff that I do with my officiating, it's not just on the court, it's off the court as well. It's the exposure that I can give to young girls, young black girls, young girls of ethnic groups as well, to say, listen, if you can't see it, you can be it. But just with everyone else, expect to work hard. Don't expect it to be given to you because, oh, we've got to throw a female in. Oh, we've got to tick the EDI box and everything. No, 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 no. You work hard for it, you will get acknowledged. But it's not always easy to accept that when it does actually happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I'm going to pick what you just said about if you can't see it, be it. And I think that was one sentence that you said at the conference where we met that really cemented in my head. And I thought it was really powerful.
100%. Because I think the saying, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the saying is like, if you can't see it, you can't be it, or something. I think that's what they're saying. If you can't see it, you can't be it. But I was like, but if we keep going with that narrative, then when are we ever going to find that person that says, if you can't see it, be it? It shouldn't be a case of, oh, if you can't see it, then, it's just not going to happen. So I think when I first stepped up to do Senior National League, I was just like, right, I can't see it. There's definitely a gap. There's a gap somewhere, because there's too many women that look like me, many young girls that look like me. But why am I not seeing these people on court with a whistle? Why am I seeing them on the court but writing down the scores, or managing the teams? Or I'm like, no, we need to be that person. So it was a bit like, right, I have to admit, I didn't expect the challenges that I've come across. I didn't expect the challenges to come across, but then that may be the naive side of me, expecting there not to be challenges. Um, However, when I kind of made that commitment, I was like, right, I'm going to take the blows that come with it, the challenges that come with it, the trials and tribulations, so that the next generation, it's not that it's an easy ride for them, but it'll be an easier ride for them, But everyone faces their own individual challenges. It just happens that I'm playing an important role in a very male dominated environment, and I am that red rose and a bunch of daffodils.
Yeah, you're paving the way for so many young women coming up, right, in the future.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So tell me about the challenges. So what have you faced? Where
The
do we start?
challenges. Yeah, where do I start? Um, One thing I had to get over very quickly when I chose to completely commit myself to Senior National League and the Super League was that do not walk into any arena expecting to be liked. At the end of the day, you are around professional athletes, you're around athletes that have got a lot of experience, you're around coaches who've got a lot of experience. They know the rules of the game, or the rules of the game down to their interpretation of the rules of the game, you know. And if you are unknown to them, they're just not going to acknowledge you at all. or they're going to be expecting you to play a role within that sport that you're actually not. And I'll come back to that in a second. Or they're going to question everything that you do and try and, you know, try and suss you out and try and really pull the strings to see, right, let me see if I can get under her skin. And I've had it this season, I had it last season, you know, go into a particular arena, and I remember the assistant coach of the team, because obviously just like I imagine you would with football, with boxing, sorry, you have like a pre-game probably with the coaches maybe beforehand, or I'm not too sure how it works, but we always have a pre-game just to go over, you know, the basic rules and the things that we expect, what we expect from them, what they should expect from us. I had two male officials standing there, you know, all suited and booted. Obviously it's a Division 1 men's game, all suited and booted. And at the end of the pre-game, you know, we all shook hands and everything else. And then he turned to the male officials and was like, "Oh, is there only two of you tonight? Where's the third referee?" So I'm standing there like, just breathe, just breathe, just breathe. And I went, "You looking for the third official? I'm here." "Oh, I thought you were a table official." "No, I'm a referee as well. These are my colleagues. I'm the umpire too today." "Oh, right." And for that split moment of time, I was like, okay, there's a few things here. He didn't expect me to be a referee. As I said, expected me to be, you know, off the court and behind the table writing down the scores, or probably thought I was with one of the other teams and just wanted to listen in to the pre-game. And it was his kind of limiting beliefs that, oh, these are the three referees I'm actually talking to right now. You know, why didn't he question one of the other guys about whether they were one of the referees? You know, immediately it was, oh, didn't realise you was a referee. Okay. And I think this is where the strong mindset had to come in, because I was just like, right, I can let this kind of ruin the game for me and get into my feelings about it, or I can go out there, stand on business and be like, yeah, I am the other referee now, you know. After that, you know, we spoke about it and he came over and he did apologize. I wasn't expecting him to, but he did apologize, you know, and he said, "Listen, completely, I'm really sorry about that. You know, I don't believe I've met you before. I just assumed for you that you were the other referee. But you did a great job today. Take it with a pinch of salt, you know, because did I do a great job? Maybe not, because I'm pretty sure there were a few times you didn't agree with a couple of the calls I made and everything else. But that's just one of the challenges I've faced, you know, with people just not expecting you to be in the role that you're so deserving of, you know. I've also had instances. This is quite rare, I would say, but I've had instances where I've had coaches and players actually question, you know, well, why am I doing the men's game? This is men's basketball. You can't call those kind of calls for men's basketball. And I'm like, whether you're male or female, the calls are still the calls. The rules are still the rules. So why do you feel like I would call it differently if this was a women's game? You know? Um, but I think I've definitely had to develop the tough skin, and I've had to kind of find my own very quick, witty one-liners to give back to them, which kind of shuts them up, and they're like, okay, she's about her business, she knows what she's talking about, you know? But every single time I step on that court, I feel like I'm always having to prove why I deserve to be there. Why have I blown that whistle? Why am I making that call? You know? But then sometimes as a female, this is the issues that I've had. It's, oh, that was such an emotional call, or don't be so emotional about it. And it's like, if I have a resting face, I've got an attitude. I show a bit of emotion, I'm too emotional. And it's just like, let me breathe. You know, I allow you to coach, I allow you to play, I allow you to spectate. let me officiate the game, you know. And yeah, you know, I do have a thing about me where I feel no way to, you know, offer my whistle to a participant or to a coach or to such. Come and do what I do, and then tell me that you would have made that call. Or come and do what I do, and tell me that you'd be able to, you know, resist the pressure that you have around you, because every second counts, whether it's a 1 point game or a game is being blown up by 40 points, you know. But I think the challenge that I put upon myself this past year, being in the professional league, was, you know what, I want to put myself in places that um, I'm not expected to be in. I want to branch out. I want to do kind of out of area appointments. I want to experience a different crowd and see what that's like, you know. And that's all about building up my mindset, building up my self esteem, my confidence as a referee. You know, it's to say, right, if I can referee down there, oh, I can referee anywhere. You know, if I can referee that player and that coach, oh, I can referee anywhere, you know. um and I always say to people, like, as much as you might see the glitz and glam and, oh, you know, the referees are here and they're walking in and they're in charge, there's a lot that comes with it. There's a lot that comes with it, you know. um but I think those are the more easier kind of challenges that I can explain to you. But there have been, yeah, quite a few, even when it comes down to the crew you're working with sometimes, you know. um and this is just me being honest, being, you know, black and white, but I'm not going to hide it, because I've always said I'll be always be open about my experience as an official, because I never want anyone to come into officiating thinking that it's easy and there won't be challenges. No, no, no. You know, even with your crew, sometimes I wouldn't say it's not people that you get along with, but it's people that, because they're more experienced than you suddenly become this inferior official. Or, you know, every kind of get together during an interval of play is about, oh, you shouldn't have made that call, or why did you make that call, or leave that to me. And it's like, listen, you know what, regardless of the position we have on the court right now, whether you're the crew chief, umpire one, umpire two, we're all equal. We are not running around in this court with a title above our head that says, that's the person that jumped the ball up. That's no, you don't know that. You shouldn't be able to see that. You know what I mean? Watching the game. So how about we're all equal? We'll respect each other's decisions. We can talk about these things, definitely, but don't try to single someone out and make it seem as, you know, oh, because you're the rookie. And that's a term that I've heard a lot in my first year in the professional league. Oh, you know, because you're a rookie, that's why the coach. Do you know what that can do to someone's mindset when you're just constantly throwing out because you're a rookie? Or, oh, do you know what? You know, I know him a bit better than you, and no, man to man, we had this conversation, and I don't care. I don't care. You see me as a female. I don't care. You're a referee. I'm a referee. You know, I understand the challenges that I have, but don't throw them out there in my face all the time. You know, sorry, I think that's a really extended answer, but you can see how passionate I am
Absolutely.
about my officiating.
Yeah. And I love all the things. Obviously, these are all the challenges, all the experiences that you had. But I just kind of feel like as women, we already we already are very self-critical, right? And then you have people scrutinizing you all the time, like more than they would for the male counterparts, right? And I loved, especially, I took a huge deep breath when you said, whenever you step onto that court, you always have to prove yourself that you deserve that place. How
It's
hard is
exhausting.
it?
It's exhausting before you've even blown the whistle, you know, because it's just like, oh, she wouldn't have done that. Or if there was a male referee, he wouldn't have called that, you know, oh, let them play. Or, you know, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. And the thing is, we have to have these kind of conversations, because even though we're in two completely different sports, we have the same frustrations, you know. So the work that you're doing, the podcast that you're on, more people need to have these kind of conversations, you know. And then just like we are doing, because we couldn't see it, we had to be it. We're having the discussions to hopefully raise awareness to say, do you know what? When we're on court, regardless of whether we're male or female, guess what? We're both wearing trousers. We both got the whistles. We both got the same uniform. We both know the rules. Respect us as equals, because everyone's human and everyone makes mistakes. Referees are never going to have every single call in a game right. Impossible. And if you do, hands up to you. Do you know what I mean? But things like that, it comes with time, it comes with experience. But yeah, like we make one wrong call. Oh, because she's a female. Oh, she's so girly. Oh, she's so emotional. Okay, give me a break.
Yeah, I know. I know. I think that's one part that when I spoke to other referees in other sports, it's that people forget that we are human. We are human beings, that we do have feelings, we do have emotions, and we do make mistakes. And I mean, when I spot myself making a mistake, like in the moment, the all the thoughts in my head were more like way more awful than whatever people would shout from the outside. I don't know, like, like I just got like spiraling thought. I just like, oh my God, like that was wrong kind of thing. So I don't think people understand that we criticize ourselves a lot more. And so when the external people starting to pile on, that really get on the mental toll, doesn't it?
100%. And this is why it's so important that we practice positive self-talk, even during the games, to ourselves. Because I remember um, I would make an incorrect call. I won't call it a bad call. I'd make maybe an incorrect call. And it would stay with me for, and like I said to you, every second counts in a basketball game, you know. Why am I still thinking about something that happened 10 seconds ago? 10 seconds, we could go up and down it 2-3 times easily. So I've had 2-3 offenses, 2-3 different possessions, and I'm still thinking, no, let it go. Next play. But it's taken me a long time to get to that mindset, because I was like, oh my gosh, I really hope that player doesn't hate me now. Oh no, that means like if I blow the next, whatever I blow next, the coach is going to say this and that. Let it go. Let it go, because the game is still going, time is still moving. But, tell me to
Yeah.
think this way a couple of years ago. Oh, no way. I would have gone home. I'm driving home thinking, oh, why did I make that call? Why did I do that? Oh, I should have seen that. Did the ball really come off that person's foot? Let it go. Watch the tape back and use that for what can I do better the next time? Okay, or what position should I have been in? Or what was the criteria that I used at that time? But it comes with time and experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel like there's a lot of life lessons there, right? I mean, that let it go is so profound, and it is so helpful. There's so many things in life, in sports, on the court, even for athletes, for referees. Sometimes that we just have to let it go, let that moment go, then you can really move forward and kind of
Yeah.
move on. Yeah. So I want to come back to the earlier days. So when I was doing research on you, and I think I spotted something that you said, it was never in the plan to be a referee.
Yeah, never in the plan. Yeah, never in the plan to be a referee. So I started as a player. I started playing basketball from the age of 10. Just at
Wow.
school, quickly moved on to National League basketball. But the thing is, I never really had like the American dream, or anything like that, I played, I was good at it. I had amazing coaches around me. But regardless of, injury or academics or anything, I always came back to basketball, So I remember I qualified to be a table official at 14, because I was still going to be able to stay in basketball, and table officiating allowed me to, earn some money at the weekends if I wasn't playing. Um, and I remember just being a table official, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I could never be on the court and be a referee and running up and down, and they get shouted at, and no, 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 I could never do that." Someone then said to me, "Listen, you need to give this refereeing a go. We haven't got enough referees. Um, why not give it a try?" And I was like, what, run up and down the court and get shouted at by the spectators and the players, and no, I can't do it. I remember my first National League game that I did. I think it was like an under-16 boys. But for me, hearing National League, I was like, oh my gosh, these are elite athletes. You know, I can't do anything wrong. And I was so panicked. I don't think I slept the night before. You know, I remember wearing a completely wrong uniform.
Oh no.
Right, it was like, it was the right colours, but it was like baggy tracksuit bottoms and a baggy top. And because I'd only done local and regional stuff, you know, so to me, I just wore what I saw out there. I didn't realise that in the National League, senior National League, like, you know, you're in, you know, proper trousers, you're in more of a fitted shirt, you've got a more professional look to you. You know, I think I had one of those kind of school whistles as well, with no
Oh
kind
no.
of, you know, lanyard that was, you know, tight to the neck and everything else. So it's swinging around everywhere. And yeah, it feels like a lifetime ago now, but that's what I saw around me. So that's what I was like, okay, this is what I meant to do. Anyway, the National League game started. Absolutely nervous. Absolutely nervous. But then I got this buzz for it. So I was like, okay, I might try another one. And then I was like, okay, I need to go and get some proper trousers now. Okay, right, I need some proper footwear now. I never went back to table officiating after that. Never went back to
Wow.
it. And I was just like, no, I love tabling. But there was something about being on the court that just ignited this kind of flame in me. But I think the thing that limited me were the women that were before me that were refereeing. They were much older than me. Um, and I didn't have any black females. I didn't have any ethnic minority females refereeing because they were all sat at the table, doing table officiating. I didn't see any of them as referees. So for me, it was like, oh, you lot must get, you know, specially selected to do these kind of things. Or I wasn't even aware that there was a pathway to becoming a referee because it wasn't pushed out there. There was nothing out there that said, oh, become a referee and you can do this, and you can, you know, officiate abroad and you can, you know, become a FIBA official. You can, you know, officiate in the NBA. No idea about it. You know, so I was just like, it's not for people like me. We just learn how to do write down the scores, and that's it. But I didn't think I'd be where I am today as quickly as I've got there because I never envisioned um being where I am because I couldn't see it. And honestly, and I think with the generation, the youth generation that we have today, they have to be able to see it to believe it. They have to see it, you know. They can, just like when they're in school, they can read all these history books and they can get an idea of it. But then you tell that kid, right, I'm going to go and take you now to that country where this happened. Oh my gosh, this is actually real. This actually happened. Yeah, because now you've seen it with your own eyes. The same thing when kids see us on, you know, in the ring or on the court. It's like, what? There's a female official? Okay, wow. But honestly, if I could pack the feeling that I get when I have parents or young girls or even the players, even the coaches sometimes come up to me and go, do you know how refreshing it is to see a female referee on the court? Or you were the best referee out there today. Or, oh my gosh, you know, my daughter looks up to you, she follows you on Instagram. I'm like, I'm a celebrity. You know, but it's just like, they honestly, people have to see it, but it takes for people like yourself and I to kind of, right, just throw ourselves in the water and see if we come up, you know, because it's going to be worth it. And as much as it might not feel like it at the moment, we're paving the way. 100% we are. I know we are.
Yeah. You're a trailblazer, right? Paving the way, opening up that path. You know, that pathway you said that you couldn't see it for yourself before, but now you're opening up that path for the people that come behind you.
Most definitely. And I think a lot of it comes from um, getting yourself out there and having conversations with people, being open, about your journey. I think a lot of people go down the path of, oh, I'm just going to do it for myself and see what I can get out of it and keep it to myself. And sometimes it takes a team effort. You know, the conversations you have with people can open doors for you, can give you so many different opportunities. So, you know, like when we attended the conference that last time, I wish I'd got there earlier because it was amazing. Um, it was so kind of warming to just see the same kind of similarities and the differences as well that, you know, we're having in basketball that they were having in football during the conference at the time, you know. And then speaking to so many of the female officials, it's like, wow. And I said it earlier on, you know, we're in different sports but facing the same frustrations, you know. But yeah, have the conversation because you have no idea what opportunity that can bring about to you.
Yeah. And it sounds like that you have some special people in your corner supporting you throughout this journey. Anyone in particular you want to give a shout out?
Um, one person that I would um definitely give a shout out to. She was my first basketball coach, Claire Franklin. She actually passed away a couple years back now, but she actually got me into basketball. Um, and then you know we lost contact. She was my high school coach. We lost contact, and then we kind of reconnected again, and she was so happy to hear that I was still in basketball. You know, I would tell her about maybe places I was either playing, and then as soon as I said to her, "Oh, I'm doing this refereeing stuff," she's like, "Oh, okay." So and I said, "Listen, give me 3 years max and I'll be in a professional league." And I think from the time of having the conversation to actually doing it was about a year and a half. But the
Wow.
frustrating thing for me was that she never got to see me put on that professional kit, you know? Um, so if there's anyone that I am going to give their flowers to, it was her. It was definitely her because regardless of whether I was playing, officiating, coaching, teaching, yeah, she was of my rock, 100%. So I give her all the flowers, Claire Franklin, definitely.
Oh, I'm really sorry for your loss as well. That losing someone so important in your career, in your life, that must be really sad.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking. But I've constantly got the cackle. She had really earpiece and cackle. And I've constantly got her
Okay.
in my ear, especially whenever I'm facing any challenges, especially when I'm stepping out onto the court and everything else. And, I remember, I think it was the beginning of last season. So I'm sure, like with you, you have to like fitness tests at maybe the beginning of the season or anything like that to try to allow you to officiate at the highest level. And for me, I just couldn't pass this fitness test. And I remember saying to her, like, I just need to pass this fitness test. If I pass this fitness test, it'll be fine. And it was just this heavy weight over me. And I remember sitting down with her, and this is at the time that she was chronically ill, and she was like, "You're going to do it. You're going to do it. On Saturday, you're going to do it." And I'm like, "Okay, fine. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it." And I didn't pass it. She didn't hear from me. She's like, "I know I haven't heard from you because you haven't passed it." And I'm like, "Okay, it's fine. I'm going to do it in 2 weeks' time." Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. And then it's like I remember the day that I passed it. I just wished that I could call her and just be like, I finally
Mm.
did it. I finally did it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
Mm.
regardless, because she knows the struggles I'd face with that stupid test, she's always there with me, always there with me. So yeah, Claire Franklin.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's really really touching, and just knowing that you have had someone so important and being able to support you. That is so important. Yeah. So tell me about the highs of your career to date. What do you consider the highlight so far?
Oh, one thing when I committed to officiating, one thing I always wanted to do was travel and officiate. How? No idea. As I said, I wasn't aware of the pathway. You know, I always say that I wish I'd started and taken it seriously more sooner, because I would have been younger and I would have met all the different, criteria for this, and that. But it has to be the opportunity to travel and referee. So where have I officiated? I've officiated in Sweden. I've officiated in Toronto, Montreal in Canada. I've officiated in Bahrain in the Middle East, and then all around the UK. Officiating and traveling, it's next level. Like being able to experience different countries, the way that different teams play, the attitudes of different coaches, how professional one team or country might be compared to another. It definitely has to be the traveling. Unfortunately for me, I kind of missed the mark with the FIBA qualification of refereeing because of my age, which, if FIBA ever hears this, you need to up the age. Um,
What's the
but
limit, if you don't mind me asking?
Sorry.
What's the age
So
criteria?
to become a FIBA official, which is it's the highest within Europe. You cannot be older than 35 at the start of the qualifying season. There's
Wow.
a lot of politics going into that because I'm, like I said, I keep it black and white. I'm very aware of people that, were made feeble officials who were already 35 or older. And, you know, anyway, but yeah, so my kind of argument was, yeah, but at the beginning of the next qualifying season, I would be 35 the same way how someone who is born in September would just be turning 35. So it's exactly the same. So give me this chance. And full stop, wasn't going to happen. Okay, fine. Do you know what? But the door didn't close. The door didn't close. And, after attending the Nordic Championships in Sweden, I think 2 years ago, I met up with one of the most amazing instructors who, he's been my mentor. He's worked closely with me. He's really helped me build my mindset and stuff. And he invited me out to his camp this year, actually, in New York. And so I was like, do you know what? This is why, as much as we love to throw all our eggs in one basket and just think, no, this has to be the end result for me. It doesn't have to be the end result. It doesn't have to be the end result. All the work I did 2-3 years ago when I was doing the National League, the Junior National League, Senior National League, people are now seeing that, so people are sending me messages, calling me up, tagging me on Instagram, can you come and help me with this tournament? Can you come and run this for me? Or I need you here. And I'm like, whoa, okay, yeah, no problem. But it's just like, yeah, you're being acknowledged for the work that, you've been putting in. So yeah, I'd say definitely going back to what you said, definitely the traveling, and definitely the recognition within Europe. I would say with like a
Mm,
few of the European referees and instructors.
yeah. Yeah, that's great. And I really love that message there that, a lot of people, they set a goal and then they kind of just like, well, it has to be that end result. Like you say, it has to be that goal. If I don't achieve it, then, well, nothing else matters. But I think what the message that you put out is so important is that, well, yeah, maybe there is something out there you want to move towards to, but actually all the things that you have been doing, all the work that you have put in, there will always be a reward. It might not be that ultimate or whatever goal that you think that you'll get to, but actually there are loads of opportunities that will open up if you have put that work in.
100%.
So you're a basketball coach as well in a school.
Yeah.
Tell us more about it. What is it like?
So I've always worked within education, always worked in education, worked with kids. Yeah, always worked with kids, whether it's children with special needs, um, whether it's young athletes, like grassroots athletes. And now I'm academy basketball coach. So I am head of girls basketball and lower school basketball at Sedge Hill Academy. Um, and honestly, I have such a passion for being around kids and just seeing them flourish from maybe not being able to dribble a ball to going on and having opportunities, whether it's regional, whether it's national, international, and just knowing that you've been able to be a piece of their puzzle. It's amazing. It's amazing. The group of boys that I've been working with this past year at the academy, from the get go, I've always said, you know what, I treat you lot like my sons. I love them like they're my own kids, because whether we're talking basketball or whether we're talking personal or whether we're talking academic, they hold on. They're sponges. They hold on to so much of, the time and effort that you put into them. Um, and I love them all. I love them all, and the frustrating thing for me is for kids that, might start the first year of sixth form. Obviously, sixth form's only 2 years. So for me, I kind of look past the 2 years and go, oh my gosh, I've only got 2 years of you. To them, it's a long time. To me, it's just like, right, we're literally September until July. Then you've got a long summer. Then we're September to July. And then I don't see you. I might not see you again. Like I've given you all of that love. And then what am I going to do with it? But no, I absolutely love working with kids, working with young adults, and just being able to be a piece of their future.
Yeah, that's amazing. Do they know how awesome you are? Like you're a referee and everything.
The thing is, a few of the kids at the school, especially within the basketball academy, they would have known me as a referee first before
Mm.
actually coaching. So then I think when I actually came in and was like, yeah, I'm going to be one of the other coaches, they were like, what, you do coach? And I said, yeah, I've coached for a while, but my first passion will always be refereeing, So I think in different environments, they're like, oh, hi ref. And then it's like, oh, at school, oh, hi coach, you know. But listen, they're the ones who make me amazing. They're the ones that make me amazing, just for how incredible they are. And it's just nice to be, as I said before, it's nice to be part of their life. It's nice for them to witness my growth, but through them, you know, um, being able to educate them on, well, things in life, coaching side of stuff, as an official, but for them, just like I said earlier on, it's about them being able to see it for themselves. So now I've got so many of my kids are like, oh, can you teach me how to become a referee? Or, I want to become a table official. And I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. Why not? Because at the end of the day, listen, these legs are not going to be running up and down a court for very much long. Well, I wouldn't say much longer, but for a long time. So yeah, I need the next generation to step up, so why not?
Yeah,
But they had to see it for themselves.
yeah. But that's so great. Like you inspired them to want to learn about table officiating, being a referee. And that's amazing. What's the future looks like for you?
What does the future look like for me?
Hmm.
It's a bit like, do I put it out there into the universe and hope that it happens, or do I keep working towards it and hope that it
Oh,
happens, or do I have this goal in mind but my path could go a completely different way? um do you know what, I want to be able to be a referee for as long as I can, whether that's on the court or whether that's as an instructor. As I said, always helping the next generation of officials. Um, I want to continue to have the opportunities to travel and referee, and just be in rooms that I would never imagined. Hear from people, talk to people, connect with people that I would never imagine that I'd have conversations with. You know, I'm looking forward to my second year in the professional league. I definitely want to be able to, I'd say in a few years' time, I'm in no rush. One thing about me now, because I've got to where I have with the professional league so quickly, I don't want to rush my journey no more. I'm very content with where I am. And I don't necessarily want to rush, like, right, this is the next thing I need to do. This, no, because I never expected to be here, you know. So I want to enjoy this moment. I want to enjoy refereeing. Do I want to step up to the men's professional league? Yes, most definitely. But once I get there, I want to sustain my time there. You know, I want to be there, and I want to be comfortable there, and I want to be like, yep, I know that coach, I know that player. They know how I ref, I know how they coach, I know how they play. All those kind of things. There's absolutely no need for me right now to think, right, done this, tick, now move on. No, how about enjoy the journey that you're on? Because I think as officials, there's so much temptation to go, right, done the level 1, done the level 2, done the level 3, done the level 4. But how about you get to the level 2, level 3, you stay there for a couple of years, and you know the rules, you know the interpretations, your court presence is, you know, chef's kiss, you know, your communication with players and coaches is chef's cool, do that. And then if you think it's the right time, then step up. There's too much temptation to be like, oh, but there's another level I could go to. Hey, if you've got the time and you know you've got a lack of responsibilities and everything, go for it. Why not? But don't run before you can walk. Okay,
Mm,
the world of officiating, it's not a sprint. Just like life itself, it's not a sprint, but you have to allow yourself to enjoy what you're doing in that present moment in time, because it's over so quickly. And you know, with us being within sports, it could take an injury.
yeah.
An injury can set you back, you know, whether you're an athlete or whether you're an official. So
Mm,
because you were so keen to do X, Y, and Z, it's like, well, now I need to really slow myself down. You have to be able to adjust to that, because it's not easy. You know, us getting injuries and stuff, it keeps us off the court the same way it does with players. You know, coaches then miss
yeah.
their players and, you know, messes up the team, etc., etc. But honestly, it's not necessarily to be in a place or to be at a specific level. I want to be comfortable where I am right now. That honestly is my short term and long term goal. Like, I want to feel fitter on the court. I want to feel confident with my calls. I want to have that, you know, the aura, as these kids say, that, you know, I step onto the court and it's like the ref's in the building. Cool, no problem. You know, why do I need to keep chasing? Because when are you going to enjoy it? If the opportunity happens and I feel, you know, I'm ready for it, cool, let's step up to the next level. And this is what's going to be needed of me to get cool. But until then, let's just cruise for a little bit and enjoy the ride and get more confidence in what I'm doing.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Be in the moment, isn't it? Just really be in the moment, like you said, enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, because, well, you said it really, really well. Like, if you don't enjoy it now, like, when are you going to do it, right? Right. So, do you have any advice that you would like to give to the women, the young women that are in the sport, on the fence a little bit, in terms of like going down to, you know, the officiating route? What would you advise them?
What would I advise them? I would advise them to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Put yourself in positions that you're not used to being in, and just see what happens. You do not know the life that you could be changing by someone seeing you representing them.
Mm,
Representation is so, so important. Okay, we all want to feel represented. And if we can't, we have to be that person. We have to be that catalyst to make that change. It's not easy, and it really takes that shift in your mindset to say, I could. But then you don't want to be the coulda, woulda, shoulda. Just go and do it and then see what comes with it, you know. But one thing I will definitely say to um young girls from Black and minority ethnic groups, representation matters. Be the change that you wanted to see.
I love that. So you talked a lot about mindset, and we talked about that positive self-talk. So do you have a routine before you go onto the court, like to kind of prepare yourself that you could share with us?
Um, do you know what? As I said, being very black and white, I'd love to be able to go, oh, I wake up in the morning and I have my coffee and I have my electrolytes and I have. That is not my life. My life is not like that. My life is not like that at all. You know, I am a mum to 3 children, you know, so my day on game day, my routine on game day is making sure they're all settled and they've had their breakfast and they're sorted for the day and the childcare and everything is sorted. And then I've got to get myself mentally prepared, probably in the car on the way to the game. Do you know what I mean? So
Mm.
I'm not just oh, it's the morning, let's wake up and smell. No, that's not my day. I'm usually having to chase a kid around to find a sock or to change a nappy or to why the dish is not washed. That's how my day starts first before I can even get into the mindset of being an official. Do you know what I mean? And then it's, oh my gosh, no, I can't take the train no more because London transport is rubbish. I can't drive because right. So what am I? You know, all these external factors come into play. So I think my routine to get me match ready, yeah, it probably starts that hour before I actually get onto the court because it's impossible for me to start it from the morning. You know, all the night before. Okay, the night before, I make sure I've got my bags packed. I'm getting a lot better at that. You know, um, but yeah, that journey there in the lead up to the game, that's when I start thinking, or should I say, I try not to overthink. Because I think sometimes overthinking is the killer. You know, oh, make sure I don't do that. Or you did that last week, you know, and you, no, sometimes overthinking is the worst thing. It's just like, right, you know how to referee, go and be great. You know, and there's times where literally, you know, we have these pre-games and everything and people going, oh, make sure we do this and make sure you speak to that person and make sure you do that person. I guarantee you 9 times out of 10 I will finish with, they'll go, you know, Gabby, anything, let's go and enjoy the game. Like sometimes you just need to hear that, like we don't have to be so robotic, you know. So I think for me the mindset is more focused during the game because then that's when, like I said to you earlier on, you know, we can be so critical about ourselves and the calls we make and everything else. So that's when I'm like, okay, cool, it's happened, next play, move on. Right, okay, I'm watching the game, I'm talking to myself as the game's going on. Okay, right, I need to remember that number, right, this person, that's all it's doing. Okay, and it's like even sometimes I go, right, great call, Gabby, and it's just reaffirming myself, you know, because you're not always going to get the random applause and everything from the side. You're not. You could go into a game and sometimes every single time you blow that whistle, it's a boo or a what are you doing the
Yeah.
ref or you know what are you looking. It could be anything. So yeah, during that time, as I'm warming up my body and everything else, that's when I think I tried to take that time to kind of recenter myself and go, right, just go out and do what you know how to do. Do you know what I mean? Don't make it so difficult for yourself. So for me, my mindset is do not overthink the game. Don't go looking for things that aren't there. Don't go trying to do more than you need to do. You know what you're doing. So just go and do it and be great with it.
I absolutely love that. And I love how real you are as well. Like, people really forget, like, you know, you as a referee, like when you're on the court, they just think that, well, you're the ref. But actually, you've got so many things going on in your life, right? Like, you might be thinking about, oh, will one of my kids be okay or whatever? There's so many things that can actually play on your mind. But when you're on that court, that you're so focused, you need to really cast those things out of your head and being able to really focus on your game. And like you said, I mean, there will always be people booing you. There will always be people, they might just, like you said earlier, you know, like you're not there to be liked. So, but at least they need to respect you, right? But then there are people, they're just lack of respect. And how do you feel about that?
Um, as I've said, over the last year or so, I've had to develop the tough skin to it. You know,
Mm,
you're never going to get everything right in their eyes. And I think I said something at the beginning that was like, the coaches know the rules or their interpretations of the rules. You
mm,
know, so it's just like right now I could educate you on why I made that call. We don't have that time right now. So, you know, we'll have to agree to disagree right now. However, if I'm pretty sure on something, right, your player did X, Y, and Z, that's why the call was made. You can't say anything to that. Because right now, if you argue with me, we're just going to go back and forth for absolutely no reason because
yeah,
that's your interpretation of the rules. But
yeah,
I'm here to make sure that I give you the exact rule as to why that call was made. So, as I said, you're never going to get everything right. Um, Annoyingly, I would say it sounds so silly, but it's like we signed up for this. We signed up for this. Like, am I really out here doing getting all the qualifications I can and trying to be the best official just to get booed? Yeah, because you know what? People have got feelings, people have got emotions, and people are passionate about the game just like we are as officials, you know. And I've had so many instances where, during the game, coaches, players, spectators are blown up. Ref, after the game. Ref, thank you. Well done. That wasn't easy. I couldn't do what you do. That's it. That's it. And just like for them, I was emotional in that moment. Okay, next play. But it's funny because us as officials, we're not allowed to be emotional. So we end up being their therapist on the call. And it's just like, right, now I need to walk away from this game and need my own therapy.
yeah.
But yeah, we can't be emotional, but what they can. We just have to be professional about it. It's fine. So yeah, we signed up to it. That's how I feel that's how I feel about it.
That's true. We sign up for this, right? Finally, anything that you feel important that maybe we haven't talked about? Anything you would like to add?
Um I think it's important that more sports collaborate
Mhm.
on issues that aren't so visible to the naked eye. Had it not been for the conference, I never would have met you, or maybe I'll pass with the cross somewhere. You never know, but as I said, it's if so many sports are having the same challenges, the same frustrations, or groups within that sport, then let's talk. Let's find out how football is doing it and how we can manage it in boxing. Let's find out how boxing is doing it really well and why we're not doing it so well in basketball. Let's find out why England does it so well and Spain aren't doing it so well. So communication is so important. Um I would love for there to be like a worldwide, I'm sure there is, but it's one of these things that if you don't research it, you don't know. So there might be a big forum out there or something where people are having these discussions, but they need to be brought to the forefront. And it's not for people to have a moan about their governing bodies or what's expected within certain countries or things like that. It has to be about people that actually want to make a change, and want to make whatever sport they're in great. So yeah, I would love to see more sports collaborating and finding out ways that we can, as much as we love football over here, boxing's a great sport, basketball's a great sport, hockey's a great sport, netball's a great sport. Let's all come to the table and share our ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I think, yeah, that collaboration piece is probably missing at the moment. And like you say, it's across sports and across countries, nations, and just really learning best practice.
Most definitely.
Yeah, that's great. Gabby, thank you so much. I enjoy our conversation so much. And I really love that how you're so real about your experience and, like telling as it is. and just sharing all those challenges, all the things, your frustration, and also your highlights of your career today. And I think that you are inspiring all the young children that you're teaching, coaching at the moment anyway, and being on the court. I'm sure you're inspiring loads of young women and girls out there watching basketball. So thank you so much. And thank you for being a trailblazer in basketball and in this world. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Amy. Thank you, thank you. I know we've been trying to, speak on this for ages. So yeah, I think it's something that just needed to just flow. And I've always, like I said, I've always been so open about sharing my journey with people, because you never want to kind of lure people in and they just think, oh, but you made it seem as it was this way, and it's like, no, this is the black and white of it. But if you're passionate about it and you want to make the change, go for it.
Yeah.
So thank you for having the platform that you do, and having these kind of discussions, because they're so important.
Oh, thank you so much. And I appreciate you and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you do, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. Thank you.